Callum. Along with that, we've been spending this week playing our PlayStation Book Club game of the week, which is Killzone 3. But first off, for Killzone
Mm.
3, I want to get your overall take on your experience playing Killzone.
So I've got quite a bit to say. I wrote down sort of some things for the first time to try and sort of help me structure sort of my ramblings. But um, it was mostly negative, to be honest. I didn't really like it
Whoa.
very much. I thought the gameplay was great, the best yet out of the first three. The guns are great. There's some really fun guns as well, especially towards the end. Um, but, other than that, like story, just general combat, encounters, the set pieces, I just thought were all really poor. And yeah, I just didn't I thought Killzone 2 was far, far better. And I think Killzone 3, perhaps in hindsight, looking at it now, maybe sort of blended in with all the games like that at the time. But looking at it now, it's just on such a inferior level of quality to sort of other shooter game stories and sort of level design and everything. I was very disappointed with it, to be honest.
Dang. So I had a very different feeling on it. I loved it overall. Was very impressed by the variation in the levels and the environments. That was an issue I had with Killzone 2. That engine that they upgraded or built from the ground up for PlayStation 3 was so beautiful, but they were kind of locked into these
Mm.
just
Yeah.
environments that looked very much the same. And for Killzone 3, they really upped their game with the color. I thought the color popped so well and really gave some life to this world. You have the different areas you're going into. There's snowy worlds
Mm.
towards the end. You have the let's see, the kind of not sandbox, the almost like a junkyard towards the end. You have the
Yeah.
Helgen city, but the Helgen is the that destroyed Helgen city doesn't look the same like Killzone 3. It's a bit more colorful, has
Yeah.
that pop. You also go into this weird marshy kind of area with Helgen fauna and flora, which is really dope. I love the gunplay rather. I was also impressed by the story. I think I'd liked the story more this time around from Killzone 2. The way they built or dug into the Helgen kind of interpersonal, dilemma that's going on with
Mm.
their various
Yeah.
leaders. Let's start to pick apart stuff in chunks. So, as far as the story goes, what were your thoughts on that?
So I thought the story was probably on par with Killzone 2, 'cause I don't think Killzone 2's stories particularly, groundbreaking or anything. And but I agree, I loved the insight into the Helghast Council sort of characters. It was really cool to see the enemy's plans and their sort of interpersonal fighting, and I thought that was actually really, really good. But yeah, I just think it was quite the story reminded me of like a Fast and Furious film where it's just a bunch of set pieces, like really exciting moments that just don't even really make sense. Like there'd be a time where I can't remember now, but something would happen, like a cutscene, and then suddenly you'd be driving in some weird buggy, and it
Yeah.
doesn't even show like where the like and I'm not saying you need to see them get in the boat, but it doesn't like tell you that's going to happen, or you're just constantly thrown into these like Hollywood uh, Call of Duty set pieces just all the time. And I can't remember who I've heard it from, but it's like when something is always exciting, it's never exciting because it's just constantly trying to like wow you, and it just grated on me really badly. Mostly towards the end. I enjoyed the first half much more than the second half, but towards the end, I was just like, it was just funny how nonsensical everything got, and it was just like it was almost like they had all these like really cool scenes, and then they just didn't put any effort in like tying them together and making them make sense going from point A to B. Like you said, the junkyard, like it looked great, and the game does look really nice and plays really well. But like when you're at the junkyard, it's just a junkyard. Like there's no, it don't, there's just nothing. There needs to be more like environment sort of. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I just felt like it was just like a museum of just explosions and big mounted machine guns, and it just didn't have any atmosphere, which I think Killzone 2 did, and I think Killzone 1 did. It just felt very generic and yeah, it just didn't feel unique like the other two did, in my opinion.
I see. I mean, I don't feel that way, but I see what you're saying. As far as going back to story a bit, they do kind of start off the game referencing Rico. So I know we had the same issues with
Mm,
Rico, where in that game in general, he's just bombastic and not listening to anyone, and
yeah.
making these decisions that have repercussions within the story. But I did really like how they kick off Killzone 3 with that newer character, that newer sergeant that I'm blanking on his name, Narvel,
Marvel.
Captain Narvel,
Yeah.
how he's basically, tearing Rico a new asshole, saying it's like, I should reprimand you right now. You made all
Mm,
these shitty decisions, and now we have to deal with it. I liked his introduction, Narvel, to just kind of keep Rico,
mm,
just at bay, and really have to enforce that he
yeah.
has to listen to this upper management or upper, captain beyond his rank. But I did like that. And then Rico does seem to understand it's like, oh man, I messed up. Like he's at least
Mm,
processing that. You get a little bit more of that. I really dug the Helgen, interpersonal stuff. As far as like even separating you from the story where you're just jumping into their conflict and what's going on. Also, that newer character that Stahl, the new character Stahl is.
yeah.
I thought he was really cool. I love that performance.
Mm,
He's crazy, and he can kind of just you never know what he's gonna do. Like he's almost
yeah.
a Joker-esque kind of character. But
Mhm,
yeah, no, I had a lot of positive feelings with the story. Some of the cutscenes, like you said, are really out there, Call of Duty style, Transformer style. Where it's just they're almost just explosions on top of explosions, and just really trying to be as outlandish as they can be. But I think that's
mhm.
the outside influence of Call of Duty at that time as well. But
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
you would say that you preferred some of the other Killzone stories compared to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Killzone 1 definitely has the best story, just because it has, I feel like it's very character driven, the first Killzone, 'cause obviously you have the 4 different characters. They It really focuses on what they say to each other, even when you're playing the game, they're always talking to each other, and there's very like complicated relationships between them as well. But and then Killzone 2 is I think Killzone 2 and 3 are probably on par. I think 3 maybe edges it in some ways with the villains and the Helghast stuff, but I didn't find 2 like difficult to sit through like I did with 3 at times. Like I found some of the dialogue in 3 and the just general scenes just very difficult to watch in like a cringy way. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it is definitely the influence of the games around it at the time, and um, yeah, I just don't like I don't like the good characters. I like the Helgen characters. I don't like Sev. I don't think he's a very good character. Um, I think Rico is better just because he sort of is a bit more of a person you can like. And Narville is just the, the every single military uh, cap general
Yeah.
in every single thing. Um, so yeah, I mean, the story. Yeah, for me, it was more the just constant barrage of uh, you're flying some ship with a million machine guns on it. Because I mean, in Killzone 2, you had so many parts where you're going through like really claustrophobic apartments and like the desert, and there's lots of downtime and quiet bits where the characters can talk and you learn a bit about the world around you and about the places you're going to. Whereas Killzone 3, there was just no time for any storytelling to happen because you're constantly rushing through on jetpacks and things like that, and it was just too much of it for me, and it just made it drag out sort of towards the end because I'd already peaked at the Killzone 2 ending. Excitement happened at the very beginning, so there was just no, like you said, you knew when Killzone 2 was going to end because of how much it ramped up the excitement and the
Right.
drama. Killzone 3, you didn't. I was wishing for the end towards the end because I was just like, surely that's the last thing, that big explosion, that big battle we just had. Surely, like that's it, and then there would just be something else. And as we'll probably get onto, the ending is very underwhelming anyway. Um, yeah.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in the ending. I have some thoughts on that too. But you mentioned not getting much of a time to breathe with the gameplay, where it's just one set piece after the other. It's very just balls to the wall the whole time. But let's segue into some of the gameplay. So there is a moment, I want to say it's like the second legitimate level, where they do switch things up and give you like a stealth kind of progression when you're going through that first Helgen kind of marshy world with the different animals and stuff that's growing and that can explode. You have
Mm,
and it seems like that. that SMG that Luger used to have in the first game. You have that kind of
Yeah.
silencer, and you're made or really encouraged to go through stealthily, because if you don't, those capture troopers come in and just like
Mm.
take you out. How'd you feel about that level, that stealth level?
So I quite liked it. I thought at first I sort of died a couple of times just because um, I didn't realize how long you have to wait sometimes for like things to leave and all that. So, but yeah, I quite liked it. I thought it was in terms of how stealth sections are lined up, it was it was fairly ordinary. It was easy for me to do, and I'm awful at stealth games. Um, but yeah, I quite liked it, and I think like you said, I think those slower bits, and then the second half of the level's very difficult 'cause it's like you're on your own. I felt I died so many times on that bit. So I actually really liked that level. I thought it had a good balance because the first half of it, you're trying to figure out what's going on. Is that it's actually really interesting as well, what's going on story wise at that point. So yeah, I actually really loved that whole section, including the more quiet, stealthy part, and the really difficult sort of stretch as you're trying to return. I thought that was really great. But yeah, I just don't think the rest of the game is like that, and I don't know whether you agree or not.
Well, see, I enjoyed the mix up of the gameplay. So this level in general that we're talking about, it does slow things down, and then it kind of ramps up again
Mm.
when everyone shows up and you have to kind of fend everyone off, and then you're captured. I dug that a lot. I enjoyed the kind of fear that you would get when those capture troopers are running towards you with their knife arm, and it's
Yeah,
like they're just so badass. Where it's like, I don't know if I can take them.
yeah,
Eventually, you can melee them, you can just empty a clip, and then they're pretty much done. But I really enjoyed
yeah.
the switch up of the gameplay
Mm.
early on with this part. I know they do throw in the mech suits again. There's the driving sequences. They are trying to switch it up. It does lean more towards the action side, but they are switching up the gameplay as you progress through it. So I
Mm.
ended up more positive on that switch up of gameplay. For me, I maybe didn't like the stealth area as much as you did because of dying so much and not realizing, okay, I have to go on this path that they're showing me. I have to
Mm.
wait. I have to be stealthy. And I just had this
Yeah.
because of the previous kill zones. You're just always running at the wall the whole time. I was kind
Mhm.
of used to that same vibe, but they really make you kind of pull back and tackle it a different way. So I did,
Yeah.
looking back, I enjoyed that switch up, but at the time I was just super frustrated with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Uh, I think when I got to that point, and after I did the second half of that mission, um, I was like, "This is really." I was really enjoying it, and there was. I'm trying to think of the point. It was probably after Narvel gets captured and you reunite with Rico. I think that's where the game just takes a massive nosedive. I was really enjoying it up until that point, and then I think that was when it starts to just go completely like 0 to 100, sort of everything's action all the time, from then. Um, but yeah, yeah, it's I mean, I don't know whether you wanna go on to difficulty now, but, um, I found that you did die so fast, and that's obviously because they were trying to do co-op, which I think at the time was another big thing. And I think that really ruins a lot of the moments as well because you die so quickly. Like, I mean, it's the same. It feels like Call of Duty Veteran. I thought, but if you're face to face with a enemy, they will kill you much quicker than you'll kill them. Um, and obviously, it's to incorporate reviving so that your AI companion can revive you, or if you're playing with someone, they can revive you. But I didn't think the friendly AI is very good, so he kept going down. So I had to then try and revive him, and
Yep.
he would say you couldn't get to me even though there's like one enemy left and he's not even shooting. And yeah, I thought that emphasis on co-op was just really odd and just really ruined it in a lot of ways. And I think that might be why it was so set piece orientated as well, because co-op bits are always more fun when it's action and like just quit. I mean, the best co-op games are the ones where you sit down, play for half an hour, and it was exciting the whole time. And I think that might translate as to why Killzone 3 is how it is as well. But yeah, it did annoy me quite a lot because you could tell they've really ramped up how quick it is for you to die so that it's more fun, especially with some of the weapons towards the end of the games that just will one hit you with nothing you can do about it. Yeah, I thought that got quite frustrating quite quick.
Yeah, no, I share exactly what you mean with matching that difficulty and them intending on it to be for co-op, and that there's a really obvious focus there with the reviving. And
Mm,
yeah, I experienced the same thing with the AI, not knowing or not being able to revive me in time, or getting shot as they're trying to. Sometimes they did, but I was mainly
mm,
reviving them most of the time. Or there's levels where you're alone
yeah,
and it's just up to you. But
yeah,
the at least some of the save points were basically forgiving. I wasn't having to replay a bunch of stuff over and over again. There was a point,
mhm,
and we'll talk about it as well, where the jetpacks are introduced. Once you have to fight those enemies, I was just dying over and over and over again.
yeah,
But I did enjoy
yeah,
that jetpack sequence, or that that ability, but it's very short lived. I mean, they introduce it and then it basically never comes into play again. You're just fighting those
yeah.
enemies throughout the game. But how did you feel about this jetpack introduction?
So it's pretty easy to not see because I only noticed at the very very end of the game that when you kill a jetpack guy, you can sometimes pick your jetpack up as well.
Oh, really?
And I like the gun. The gun's great, but it removes your ability to crouch and to take cover and replaces it with going up, which I just don't understand because you don't get extra health with it. You just get a big MG, and now you're a much bigger target, and you can no longer take cover. And remember, it's like it's used like a weapon, isn't it? It's sort of
Right.
you switch to it, so you can switch away from it and that. It takes away your ability to crouch and take cover. Um, you die just as quick when you're wearing it. You don't get any extra protection. The gun's good, but it's not like an instant killer. It's sort of fires a lot of bullets, and so yeah, I thought it was fun. Like it was fun being in it, and the design's awesome as well. But I thought, yeah, it was just really like a lot of things, which we'll probably get into as well. I thought it was very lazily balanced and designed, and but it is cool and it works, as a jetpack should and all of that. But yeah, I think maybe there should have been something to counter the fact that it takes away your cover, not making you a bigger target instead.
Yeah, this one reminds me, or makes me think that it was mainly focused on for multiplayer, and they thought, let's introduce
Mm,
it somehow into single player, and it's kind of short lived. I didn't realize that because they basically explode when you shoot them. I didn't realize that they
yeah,
leave the leftover bits where you can actually jump back into
yeah,
the jetpack. But yeah, this made me think it's really for multiplayer. Let's somehow figure out a way to get into single player, and I have it on the box art that you can, there's jetpacks in there.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
thought it was cool. But yeah, it was just I would have liked to the ability to use it a bit more. But really, the other levels are structured in a way where they don't plan on you traversing up in that direction. So it's like they have to rework the levels to always have that jetpack
Mhm,
available. But well, that was my initial thought. But apparently, you can still jump into the jetpacks later on. So maybe that's not the case. But I did
mhm,
enjoy that. Um, as far as other gameplay components that they introduce, they do kind of build upon the combat, or the melee system rather. So you can string together melee combos. I never really did that, but how did you feel about just the improvement on, really it's like a button press for getting those quick melee kills?
So I did like the melee in it, especially when those guys run at you. I didn't know you could chain them up because normally by the time I've seen someone for 3 seconds, I'm lying on the floor dead. Um, but I liked it. I actually really liked the melee in Killzone 2, and I remember loving it when it first came out because it was kind of like you hit up once, and then if you keep pressing it, it would just keep doing that with his gun. And I thought that was really cool. And even today, like it's very sophisticated, like it's a very sophisticated sort of sequence that you're in control of to lift the gun up and then sort of keep doing that. So I like that melee as well. But yeah, it was an interesting take. I think it's again because you had like Battlefield who had the animations of the knifing, and I think that become more of a thing. Um, but yeah, no, it was fun. But yeah, I didn't know you could link melee. I can't imagine when that would be handy, but
Yeah, it's
that's pretty
described
cool.
in the information I've been reading about it, but I wasn't able to actually do it. So I don't know how hard
Right.
it is to actually do, but or they have to be in close proximity. But apparently you can chain multiple enemies by doing that. But I just
Okay.
never was able to pull
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah, that's yeah, I didn't see that. There was the one thing that stuck out to me, I don't know if you noticed it, but because Killzone 2 and the first Killzone as well, it forces you to pick up guns all the time because you're always running out of ammo, and it's always quite it gives it that urban warfare kind of feel that the first two have, where you're out of ammo, so you have to pick up whatever's closest. You end up picking a shotgun, and then you have to fight in a certain way because you have the shotgun now. And I really liked that. It gave like each combat encounter like a bit of something, a bit of uniqueness each time. But Killzone 3 for me just ruined that, and I didn't realize at first. The first sort of hour or two, I was playing it like Killzone 2, where I was like, "Oh, I've got no ammo. I need to pick up this gun." Until I realized that there is an ammo box literally every 5 meters that
Yeah.
not only replenishes your primary weapon, but your special weapon, your grenades, everything just by tapping circle is unlimited. And that just completely ruins for me. And this is my biggest negative about the game. But once I realized that, it just ruined the entire game because I just would get like the bolt gun or the arc rifle or these super overpowered guns, and where every single combat encounter starts, there's always an ammo box there with you. You're never not with one. So I'll just sit there with the most overpowered gun in the game, whether it's a rocket launcher, or whatever, and have unlimited ammo on it, and just rain on all the Hellgast with whatever special weapon I have. And that can be seen in how the combat encounters are designed. Again, in Killzone 2, you have those like claustrophobic apartments where you have Helghast hiding in rooms and that you never know if there's going to be one behind the corner. But in Killzone 3, it's just a alleyway or just a straight line. It's you've got like your side, they've got their side, and it's just keep trying to go take cover and shoot. And I just found and that sort of formula really kicked in towards the last half of the game, and that was where I was just like, this is so repetitive and yeah, it just became me using the bolt gun one hitting every single enemy in the game because I had unlimited ammo, and I thought it was very lazy. Sort of again balancing, and I think that's apparent throughout the game. It is very lazy, and it is just trying to be this Michael Bay big blockbuster thing, and it's just completely stripping it of all the uniqueness and the fun that you could have in the other two, that in my opinion. But yeah, I thought that the ammo boxes was just a completely ridiculous thing to do in the way they did it.
Yeah, I didn't have as much of a negative thought on that, but it was mainly because in Killzone 2, when you are running out of ammo, you are forced to pick up guns, which
Mm,
is a cool idea, but there was guns that I preferred. And so when I ran out of ammo,
yeah,
I just couldn't use it. So the main
yeah,
human assault rifle with the green kind of scope, I really dug that weapon, but I would
mm,
constantly run out of ammo. So I was super frustrated and have to pick up something else. Or say like the very last battle in Killzone 2, there's LMGs everywhere. It's like they want you to use an
mm,
LMG, but I did not want to
yeah,
use one of those. They're just not very
yeah,
precise. And so with Killzone 3, I ended up liking the ammo boxes because I could choose to carry a weapon and always have ammo for that weapon. But you're right,
mm,
where it makes it almost easier because of that, because you can really, there's no repercussions for, you never run out of ammo. They're just literally, like you said, 5 meters away every time. So the
yeah,
baby mode gamer in my mind, it's like I enjoy that because it's like there's no
mm,
risk reward thing. I'm just always have the ammo ready, but then there isn't any struggle because of that. So it's go back and forth on that, but that was an
yeah,
interesting introduction. They really are going for this, this action heavy, bombastic version of Killzone to compete with the Call of Duties at that time. They do lose a lot of that uniqueness, that flavor from Killzone. And I've yet to really spend a lot of time with Shadowfall, but I wonder if that's them going back to their own character to
mhm,
focus on what makes it unique, or they also fall into the same tropes. But you definitely feel that with Killzone 3, where they're competing and they're trying to give other Call of Duty gamers or players what they want within the Killzone franchise. So I get
yeah,
that. I go back and forth where it's like I enjoy some of the things they've changed, but then you lose that heart of what made Killzone unique.
mhm,
So
yeah.
it's interesting. My dog just fell on the floor. She's wrapped in a blanket. She's an idiot.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have so much a problem if, if they were maybe two use things or they only gave your primary weapon ammo. But the fact that it just fills up like anything you've used. So if I mean, you can only hold 3 grenades, and grenades are very overpowered. Then it fills up your grenades every time, and like I was saying, towards the end, the bolt gun and the arc laser, I want to say, or something, the thing that shoots the green balls, which is an awesome weapon.
Right.
I mean that kind of gun is something that you save for a difficult enemy, and I was just sitting at the checkpoint area, just firing unlimited of those green balls, which just turns everyone into like puffs of blood, and it doesn't like default your weapons for a long, long time. So I had that weapon with unlimited ammo for quite a lot of the end, near the end of the game, where it's supposed to be really difficult, and it just wasn't. And I just think it is very. It does seem very lazy, in my opinion. And where it has definitely improved in how it feels to play and how the game looks and on a technical level, but then it doesn't seem to be much thought put into anything. And I think that's most apparent when you look at really small things like the jetpack that just has no redeeming qualities about it, or there's no time there's no weapon in that game that is in there because it serves a specific purpose or a combat encounter is designed around you using this weapon or anything like that. It's just kill the Helghast and move on. I just thought it was a step backwards from the second game.
Yeah, I understand that. That is one thing that you lose is the heart of Killzone when you try to introduce all these popular mechanics that are gonna
Yeah.
fare well for sales, but you lose the heart of it. Let's transition to that ending. How did you feel about basically the last sequence? You have the zero gravity or the low gravity points in that space elevator, and then that ship battle, and then how they just basically pull the plug and the game ends towards the end. But how'd you feel?
I found it really confusing because I think just the way the game tells the story is just very confusing, uh, and I think that's why the Helghast bits stand out because they're not confusing. They're like you said, the villains have performed really well. Um, they all sort of have really cool mannerisms. They have great dialogue bits, but when it comes to telling you as the player what you're meant to be doing right now, it's just a bunch of "Oh, one more time, come on, if we've survived this, we'll survive the next thing," and they say that, like, literally 10 times. That's why I kept thinking the game was gonna end because 'cause they're like, "Come on, we've done this, we just gotta do this," and then it's like, "Oh, he's gonna well, first he was going to execute Narvel, then he's gonna blow up Earth, then there's a weird green thing," and it was just really I didn't really understand what was going on, to be honest, and that might be my fault, but yeah, and then it ends very abruptly. It just really quickly, and then it has the weird post-credit scene where it shows the shuttle and the Helghast come over, and it just seemed very pretentious. Again, very Hollywood. It's trying to be like a movie. The way the credits come in, all special effects, it's just yeah, it's just very cringe and a very typical ending to a game like it.
Yeah, the literal ending, I found myself laughing out loud because you basically nuke the entire planet, and I think it's the main character, Shev or Svev, whatever his name is. He's like, "Oh God, how many people are on that planet?" And then it just ends. It's like, what the hell? What? And just fade to like not even fade
And
to
then we
black,
don't
cut
see
to
it
black.
again. There's no Shadowfall's not even a sequel to three either. It's just that's just it. That's it.
Yeah,
We
it's
still don't
just
know to this day.
interesting, yeah, because I mean, there is that cutscene where they're back on that planet, and there's at least two Helgen guys who find that ship
Yeah,
that's probably stalling there, but they just ended.
yeah.
It's just like almost like they didn't have time or didn't know how to actually provide some kind of ending that was satisfying. Killzone 2, I loved how they ended that with that
Mm.
incoming ships, and you had that big battle that felt satisfying when you complete it. And I just felt like it was a great build up. And I understand, or maybe they didn't realize, where they're going to take it after 3, but to end it that way was just so weird.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it definitely stuck out more because it was the end, and like you said, it's so funny, the line that he says before it ends as well. It is just accidental, like, comedy.
Yeah,
But I found there was so many times like that throughout the game. Like when that big robot with 4 legs I quite like the actual boss fight, but
I did too.
that just appears out of nowhere, and it's just like, "Oh, now we gotta fight this," and you were going onto style ship, but then you end up going on some weird junkyard train factory thing. And it just
Yeah,
jumps all over the place, and, to me, the last, like, 3 or 4 hours of the game, it might not have actually been that long, the last that I'm talking about, but from when you bust Narvel is just I think the whole game's funny from the point on, and the ending was just the perfect punchline, for me, but I did enjoy the game up until that. It was after that I sort of started to really see the bad things.
yeah, and I think to kind of close it up, I do absolutely hear what you're saying with losing some of the heart of Killzone with them chasing these mechanics that are popular at that time. I ended up enjoying the gameplay, and just kind of being numb to the fact that they are losing those things that made Killzone
Mm,
special. But I also was on the other spectrum playing this whole series where I wasn't a big fan of Killzone One, Killzone Two. I was getting way more into, and then Killzone Three. I just enjoyed that gameplay more. But I think because I turned my brain off and just wasn't really registering what made those first games special. And so what they provided with three was fun, was fast and energetic. But yeah, at the end of the day, is it more unique? Does it stand out? Maybe not. I think the first one
mm,
honestly has takes a lot more chances. Is while I was kind of mixed on it, it is the most unique out of all of them. I was thinking back as well. It's ironically the first Killzone has way more level variance than all of them. Like even though you start off in that super brown gray
mm,
world in the beginning, all the other levels like really change it up. And I don't think Killzone 2 or Killzone 3
yeah,
ever hit those highs as they did with Killzone
yeah,
1, or even changing the characters. Like you basically follow the same character.
yeah.
The way Killzone 1, gave you four different options and ability to play through it or incentive to play through it. That was really special. And then they kind of started to throw that out the window as the series got bigger and bigger. But
Mm.
yeah, overall, I did enjoy it. It was just, but I understand where you're coming from with those issues with Killzone 3.
Yeah, and I think, I do honestly think, that Killzone 1 is the best out of the 3, and I think you put it well there where it doesn't play well. I mean, it's a very old game. The gunplay is very boring at times and just really, really dated and old and just not nice. So obviously, any game from the PS3 era is going to feel better than Killzone One. But in terms of its story, its levels, I mean, it's a long campaign as well. It's about 11 hours or so long. Um, is the story? Yeah, the story, the characters, everything about Killzone One is so much better than the other two, the two and three. But yeah, it's just very old to play now. So that's obviously a big part of it. And it's like with me with Final Fantasy VII, the original one. I know that that game is probably better than the Final Fantasies that I think is better, but it's just aged so much worse that I can't play it. I can't enjoy it. So I think it's a similar thing there. But yeah, I think the first Killzone is massively underrated because it is a really, really impressive game, in quite a lot of ways. But it really got uh, overlooked, I think, because at the time, obviously, you had Half-Life 2, Halo 2. It came out at
Yep.
a very bad time. But yeah, I think I'm really glad that we played the first three because before I used to, talk about Killzone 2, and I still think Killzone 2 is a great game, but I would have never have thought of how much I enjoyed Killzone 1.
I think for sure, I would really hope that Sony is focusing on a remaster of Killzone 1 because that's the one that I think deserves it out of all these. You could still
Mm,
play the 2 and 3, they hold up. But as far as the one that deserves it, the chances that Killzone 1 took, if you could just improve the engine and some of just the gunplay and the small quality of life stuff, that one would really stand
yeah.
out. And
Just reboot the whole thing. Just give
really,
it
yeah.
nice graphics and everything, give it a proper, like they did with Resident Evil, just a completely new but the same characters and similar sort of setting, and then just start the series again. Because I mean, I didn't realize, I definitely didn't realize how what Killzone 3 was like. I didn't know it was like that. I couldn't remember it very, very well. And but yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to play Shadowfall because from what I remember of Shadowfall, it's just brilliant, and that easily has the best story out of them all. And I mean, it still looks like amazing now. It still did when the PS4 finished. Like as one of the first games on there, it still looked amazing. So I'm looking forward to moving on to that one as well.
Yep, same here. It's nice to be at this point having these three under my belt. They've always escaped me, so it's really cool to just have this experience and play them. And yeah, I'm stoked to play Killzone 4 and get some takes now after all these three to see what they threw out the window, what they improved on, and on
Yeah.
PS4 hardware.
Saying that as well, that Shadowfall is not actually the newest Killzone game. It is Killzone Mercenary on PlayStation Vita, which is
You're right
actually
about
a
that.
really great game. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching some. That reminds me, I was watching some footage on that one, and there's a lot more. Seems like they focus on stealth quite a bit in some of those levels.
Mm,
I know that people really looked fondly on Killzone
mm.
Mercenaries on Vita, so I think you can play that through PS now. I'm assuming.
I'm not sure. I've got it on Vita.
I
So I was
don't have a
thinking
Vita.
of giving it a go. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you could, yeah, you might be able to get it on PlayStation now. I'm not sure. Or what was that PlayStation TV, whatever that
Oh, sure. Yeah.
object was? Yeah,
They're probably like $5, so they give them to you for free in a
yeah.
cereal box now.